So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing so far this week with my kiddos, and then I have a couple things on my mind, so I'm going to talk with you very quickly and very shortly about student attendance. My students worked on their spelling words.
Dime. Time. 9. 5. Hide.
They worked on the letter W. They worked on the letter G. We worked on our high frequency words: by, long, of, some. And I took apart the pencil sharpener because something was wedged way down in it. We also sequenced our story, The Birthday Pet. They told me what happened in the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and the end of the story. So I've been noticing more and more how people think, really parents, really don't take kindergarten seriously. I mean, I did another video that talked about my student had missed so many days, and I'm finding that, more and more my students are late to school. I mean, 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late. And if you're a teacher, you understand and know that that is valuable instructional time that they're missing. I mean, I have already gone over a story, reading a story, or we're in the throes of doing an assignment or in the conclusion of doing an assignment as well, when kids are kind of just strolling in. And when they're coming in without having any breakfast, and they're coming in still sleepy and groggy, as if they just kind of just woke up, and I understand how people's, that things happen. I get it. And that happens from time to time. That's like one thing, but for it to be a consistent thing is just a little concerning. And I got to thinking, I remember when I was like in a professional development, we call it a PD, where we as teachers go to get continuing education classes, and I was in a PD, and another teacher who taught maybe high school had stated like, oh, it's just kindergarten. I forget what the topic was or what exactly we were discussing, and her thought process was like, oh, well, it's just kindergarten. You guys don't have to worry about it because it's kindergarten, and that's just kindergarten. And I was like, wow, if another teacher who understands the teaching profession and understands the system of teaching feels that way, how much more do parents feel that way? Like, oh, it's just kindergarten, like it doesn't really matter. But early literacy is a foundation on which a child builds their academic career. So if they're not getting certain skills in kindergarten, then they're not mastering it, then the gaps start to grow. So let's say, for instance, if a child does not understand their letters and their sounds, that really is going to negatively impact their ability to read and to comprehend, which is the outcome of what the goal is for reading. So if they don't understand that, then how are they going to be reading, and how are they going to move forward and be successful at each grade level? So I kind of was like, wow, if this teacher really thinks this way, how much more does the general public or the non-teachers feel this way about kindergarten? But this year in particular, I'm seeing it more and more where, students are coming late. Prior to COVID, or just even 5 years ago, students were on time. Most of them were fed. At my school, we offer free lunch. So, in that sense, it's not an excuse. Get them in, get them going to lunch. We offer free lunch and free breakfast. So when they come in the morning, they can get food for free and then be fed to come in order to be ready and have their minds ready to learn. But they're coming in and it's not their way. They're coming in hungry, and they're coming in late, and they're missing valuable instructional. So recently I talked to one of the parents of one of my students because I noticed that this student was starting to miss school, miss a lot of days. And prior to really the Christmas break, they were coming late, but they still were not missing. They weren't missing days. But the student has been missing 6, 7, 8, 9 missing days in maybe a 2-month time frame. And I said, let me try to talk with their parent now so this won't continue. And so I did. I talked with mom, I talked with the parent, and I just let her know that her child is making such good strides, and her child wants to learn and is doing very well on standardized tests, doing well on tests. They really have grown by leaps and bounds. And she agreed. And I said, well, you have to have them here in order for them to learn. If we want this growth to continue, that they need to be here. And, the parent, she kind of broke down and explained that she had a lot going on at home, and I listened and we hugged and I understood, but I said, but I'm here for your child. Like if they're not, your child isn't here, then they can't get the growth, they can't get the learning. They're gonna, and we know that in the education field, they said if you're not learning, you're regressing. So not only is your child not learning, but they're actually losing ground. And so I told her, I said, my priority is your child, and you just need to get your child here. And once you get them here, I will be able to do what I need to do in order to grow them. And so she just agreed, and what she shared with me is with life. She had a lot of things that were going on that were really impacting her ability to get her child here. But we talked and I said, you've got to get him. There is no choice. I was like, I know you love your child. I know you want the best for your child. We'll get them here. And so she did. And she said, okay. So she agreed with me. It wasn't a lot of push and pull going on. And since that conversation, she's been doing her best. That her child is still missed 1 or 2 days, but I've seen the effort of her trying to get her child here. So, I just was kind of, as a teacher, it's just frustrating because I understand, like I said, I'm not one of those teachers that are like, oh, they've got to be here and they can't experience life outside of school. I'm not that type of teacher. But I do understand that an absence, even 1 day, and I did another video about that, of how much learning happens in 1 day, how much learning happens and how much is taught and how much is reviewed in 1 day. So even if 1 day is missed, even if you're coming late, they're already lost. They're already walking around. And the child feels, I see it on their face when they come in, they're just defeated and deflated. I have to make sure that I say, welcome, come in. I'm so glad that you're here. Come on in, have a seat. Let me get you caught up. Get out your pencil and paper. I have to really try to build them up because they do feel some kind of way about coming in late. They feel like all eyes are on them and that I'm late and I'm missing something and I don't know how to respond or act. And it's not the child's fault. It's not the child's fault that they are late, And as teachers, we have to make sure that we do not penalize or make the child feel like they're wrong or that I have had, colleagues where they've said, look, your mom and your dad need to do this. Well, I'm not going to lecture the child because it's not their fault. Let me have that conversation with the parents. So even as teachers, we need to make sure that we don't take out that anger or that aggression or that frustration really on the child, but we kind of direct it to where it should go in order for the change to happen and the change to occur. So, reality is not just kindergarten. It's not just, and maybe someone might be thinking about how kindergarten looked in the past. I know, things change, but the kindergarten now looks totally different. Now the expectation, now they're taking standardized tests. When I shared in my state, 2 years ago, they were taking SAT, and someone said, they're taking SAT. Like, they take an SAT, a version of the SAT. They take the age-appropriate version of the SAT. They're taking exams, they're taking these standardized tests, and we are preparing them for these tests with the work that we're doing each and every day. I'm going to say this too. In kindergarten, I make gifted referrals, meaning that I'm assessing the child to see whether or not I'm seeing those qualities, and I'm making those referrals. We make so many, and people don't realize that. They're like, in kindergarten? Yes. we're setting the trajectory, a huge trajectory for your child or for the child's academic career. And if you're a parent and you're watching, please know that every grade level is important to your child's academic success. And partnering with the teacher, it's important to share with the teacher. I'm not saying share like your personal business, but share like, okay, this is what's going on in general, and this is why these things may be happening, because we may have resources or we may have solutions that can help you and help your child in those circumstances. So, all right, that's it for me, you all. I want you to have another great one. And this is Shay with the Learning Project. I'll see you on the next one. Okay, guys, I wanted to give you all a quick update though about TB. TB is looking a lot better. It's still a little itchy over in this area over here, but overall, I think that TB is healing up well. Our school nurse actually took a look at TB today and was like, okay, it's doing better. It's been 2 weeks. They were like, she was like, this week should be it. So this should be it with the itchiness, and I should be able to start to work on getting rid of this scarring and things like that. Also TB2, which is temporary build 2 cough, is getting better. The congestion and everything is getting better. So I'm so excited about that. So that's a really good thing. I just wanted to update you and share that good news with you as well.